Today on Factory of the Future podcast, we have got Rob Whitten and Jane Lowe. They are the co-founders of Ping, which, the best I can explain it, is an automated, self-standing drive-through beverage dispenser made to customize your drink and drive-through experience. Rob Whitten is a West Point graduate, former Army infantry captain, and a seasoned systems engineer. He has led developments in iRobot, Amazon Robotics, Shark Ninja, and holding multiple patents in packaging. His food truck experience on owner-operated of the Morning Salute inspired Ping's solution for high, reliable, autonomous systems. Jane Lowe is a brand strategy and a CX expert who has led customer experiences data at Forrest and drove product development and marketing for Shark Ninja and Samsonite. She holds an MBA from Chicago Booth, and together they build technology that serves humans effectively. You can find out more about Jane and Rob at pingthrough.com, which is the word ping, THROU.com. And you can see the wonderful products that they've got offer and the automation that they've come up with. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to Factory of the Future, people-powered health. Podcast focused on trends shaping the future of manufacturing. I'm Alexandria Burek, your host, here with A.W. Schultz, two thought leaders with a passion for people and manufacturing. Today and every episode, we are diving deep into the advancements, sustainable practices, and dynamic changes transforming how we produce everything.
And now welcome Alexandria Burek and A.W. Schultz.
Hi, everyone. Welcome Jane and Rob to the show from Ping Coffee. They have reimagined what getting coffee on the go looks like. So we'd love for you guys to take us through kind of how you got to where you are and what you see kind of in the pipeline.
Thanks for having us on. We're really stoked to share our story and our progress so far. So we can take that away.
Why? What drove you to automated coffee? Am I using the right term? What do you want to call it? Or
we
you said there was two things you call them. What are they?
Yeah. So if we're talking to our customers, it's a robotic coffee shop drive-through, a format they're really familiar with. And then, if it's an investor, we talk about autonomous micro retail platforms. So It just depends. Yeah.
That's so
how did you guys come up with this idea? Let's just start with that. Were you guys just grabbing coffee and just like, there's got to be a better way? Like,
yeah.
Well, it started from anger issues. I got to be honest. So there we were 3 years ago. I had three teenage daughters in high school all at the same time. And they made me go through a bunch of drive-thrus. I'm not like really a drive-thru guy. I will avoid that line at all costs. I don't want to sit there and wait. I think it's crazy inefficient. And so they made me sit through all these drive-thrus. And I have the worst luck in a drive-thru. Like, it's a coin flip whether or not I get something even remotely close to what I ordered, right? And so I'm whinging about this one day, and Jane turns to me and she's like, with your food and robotics background and my customer experience background, we should totally solve this problem. And so we started looking at it, and no kidding, there's this number, 30% of people that wanted an order but saw the long line and left. It's called line bulk, right? 30% of potential customers just drive away. That's an $8 billion opportunity when you start looking at the numbers. Right? Oh my God. Yeah. I wouldn't even slow down, let alone drive away, right? So I think this is a way understated number. I bet you there are so many people that won't even consider a drive-through that were like me, but would consider going through Ping. And so we started putting the numbers together. The numbers looked really good. We started thinking about like how this whole thing would work, and realized we could create this amazing customer experience, something that is just like drive-thrus haven't changed in over 70 years, right? Like since the two-way speaker, drive-thrus have basically been the same. They might have nicer menu boards. Somebody might try to shove a little AI in there, but basically they're the same stuff, right? And they'll throw labor at it to make it go faster, whoopity-doo, right? But it hasn't really fundamentally changed. We took the problem, we pulled it all the way apart and said, all right, we're going to redefine how this works. And what our goal was, what our vision was, for you to leave Ping feeling victorious. Like nothing else went right in your day. This part went right. It was smooth. It was quick. It was efficient. No scanning, no waiting, no tipping. I just drove up, grabbed my stuff, and left. And
so no tipping robots? What do you mean?
Yeah, they don't ask for tips. They just run programs. Right? So,
you might have sold me there. I actually have a funny story about that. So my sister's best friend, they were at some sporting event or some concert, and literally they went to pay for something, and it was all autonomous. It was completely no human involved. And my sister's friend, I believe, tipped. And my sister's like, who are you tipping? She's like, who are you tipping? And so, we were kind of laughing about that. But and a lot of people are talking about that in the retail space. So there's a lot of stand-up comics joking about like flip the screen type deal. So that could be a win just in that avoiding that awkward experience or that point of friction as well. So that's cool. So you had a problem. You guys got your heads together. You started actually mapping out what this looks like. So what was the timeline from like ideation to we've got a prototype of this micro retail, completely autonomous coffee shop?
Yeah, I mean, we started looking at this in Jan of 2023.
Okay, cool.
Doing our research, we sat and watched drive-through lines, just people going through. We counted cars. We looked at logged in their times, how much time they spent. Just to, even though there are industry numbers, we just wanted to see it, and it was really interesting. People were like brushing their teeth in the car, right? Like there was all this behavior that they had to working, taking meetings, reading books, whatever, just adjusting behavior. Because of these long lines, why should they have to? They're building their days around this drive-through wait. So crazy. We put together a super ugly deck, super ugly in retrospect. We're if we had seen that now, we would laugh at ourselves. And then we shopped it around VCs. We didn't know what we were doing, first-time entrepreneurs. Yeah. And then eventually, after getting enough no thank yous, we're wait, we should probably just build something to test with customers, right? That whole product market fit that people are always talking about. We bootstrapped our pilot, and I think we started building Jan 2024. Rob got on this. He is fast. He can build anything or fix anything. So design build was Jan to August. We launched the prototype or the pilot. We tested for 1 month, integration, everything. We prioritized all the consumer-facing touch points. So on the face of it, everything looked automated. You had a mobile app you ordered on, the vision system that measures the height of your car window as you drive up so that the presentation tray delivers your drink at the right height. There's no ATM reach problem, right? Everything else was just no scanning, as Rob talked about. But inside, we were just making drinks
don't look behind the curtain, Wizard of Oz.
Exploding back there.
That was crazy. Yeah.
That's
were you guys sitting in the bushes just watching, or behind?
No, they were the ones making it.
We were in there.
Yeah. That's so cool. That's so cool. That's so cool. What a brilliant idea too! By raising the delivery tray, complete reimagination of what a drive-through experience is like.
I mean, we did that because we wanted the customer to have the best experience, but there are the business benefits as well. Obviously, whenever you focus on customer experience, it always comes back double. So we've served thousands of drinks at this point. We've never spilled a drink. No one has spilled a drink. They're super good at grabbing their own drinks. They're super fast about it. So that just has helped us not have to develop another solution. But yeah, we did that pilot for 3 months, and then we took all the learnings from that, and we were doing a pre-seed raise in the trailer at the same time.
Sitting on the trailer we built in the driveway, right?
In 90-degree weather.
So where did you locate this pilot? Was it in your actual? It sounds like it's in your driveway, in your neighborhood, or what? What am I missing here?
That's where we built it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where we built it. Yeah. Rob out there in 95-degree weather with 2 interns. And he does not like the heat. But we actually launched it in a parking lot of a office building that was right smack in the middle of the shopping area, like 15 minutes away from us. And this has really tested the sort of our like whole real estate thesis, which is that there are plenty of under-monetized, underutilized parking lots out there that are overparked in any given town. So now today we're looking at grocery stores because all we need are 10 to 15 spots. We only need power. We don't need water or sewer. So we're now utilizing land that isn't helping the landlord in any kind of way. And he's able to offer a perk to his customers as well. So that's really what we did. We found this under-monetized office building parking lot. And that's where we tested. And it was really, really, really great to see the very awesome like product market fit. Like we knew that customer wanted this. There's a video we'd like to share where there's like people are so wowed, like their customer reactions are just like everyone's like wow. Everyone has a phone out, they have their video, they're taking video, talking to someone, sharing that experience. So I think that then really convinced a lot of investors as well, which is how we raised our pre-seed, and we use that to then build our current autonomous pod.
You're in the ping, or it's pingthrough.com. The greater Boston area, is that the way to think about where you're currently at? And you know, you're trying to expand out through franchising through others. Is that kind of what,
so we're up in Hudson, New Hampshire. What's that?
That's where next steps are. I know Rob had explained before we got on the show that you know he was working out some different upgrades. But that's where you're looking at as the next steps. Am I understanding that right?
Yeah, so today we have our autonomous pod in Hudson. The idea is now we're going to use our current raise, build 3 more pods, and now then we can really test and optimize our hub and spoke model. So the idea is that we have one commissary, which is a kitchen, like a commercial kitchen, and that services all 4 pods. Now, like one of these kitchens can service 10 pods, but we really want to learn more and test around like the supply chain, the logistics, the operational every day of managing 4. And then from there we can scale through franchising that we could, like Rob can speak to. It's like a robotics as a service franchise model that will help us really scale quickly.
Okay, so Back to the Future podcast. We want to go into like, tell me about logistics on it. Like, how do you know when inventory is dropping and when to fill it up? And I imagine that's come up at some point, right? And how do you do it?
It came up from the beginning, you know, because when we were thinking, you know, once we got the pre-seed, you know, we knew we had product market fit, we got the pre-seed, and we started building our automated system. That's when we started thinking immediately about like, okay, how are we going to resupply this? Because we want something that can scale very quickly. So the pod itself, we want it to be easily manufactured. We want it to be, you know, affordable so that, you know, it doesn't turn into $1 million pod. We wanted it to be closer to 100K. But then we also wanted to be able to resupply this. And so our concept is eventually, you know, we'll franchise out these pods and people will find the sites, put up the CapEx so we can build the pod, and we'll place the pod, but we'll do all the resupply for them. So franchisees don't have to learn robotics and all this sort of thing, but we're going to be managing all those logistics. And I think that's how we'll really be able to make it an efficient system. You know, you lay out your, it'll be a hub and spoke model. So one hub will, you know, supply about 10 pods. And so we'll have like this process for filling all of our containers, cleaning them, you know, making sure everything meets all the health standards, which is super, super important, making sure we have super high quality, great cold chain. And so, from the get-go, we started thinking immediately about what those containers look like. How are they to refill? You know, how are we going to be able to sense, you know, where they're at? And so we established pretty quickly that we want to have a daily maintenance routine for each of these pods, right? So you'll be in there every day swapping things out, you know, cleaning, checking, doing preventative maintenance checks. And just assume that we just built that into our model. If we can get, you know, every other day later, then great. You know, that's a cost efficiency. But, you know, we wanted to think in terms of like, how are we going to be sure that these things operate? And so
failure prevention first. That's awesome.
Exactly.
Just a quick break, and then we'll get right back to the show. We are always open for meaningful sponsorship or guests that align with our audience. If your brand fits and would like to be on one of the top 10% podcasts in the world, let's chat. Reach out by email in the show notes. Back to the show.
So I have a question about the water. I'm assuming that you said you don't need water, you just need power. Mm-hmm. So do you have just like a large holding tank that you refill? How does that work?
Right now we're using 5-gallon kegs. And so we bring in all of those kegs. It's all, filtered water. And so most of what we sell is water, right? And so making sure that it's a super high quality water is super important to us, right? You don't want to have, that's the local hard water. No. This needs to be, the perfect water. So we believe it's better to, leave that CapEx for filtration upstream. And so that's why we don't have water running to each of those pods where it can be questionable and you're managing, filtration systems. So we'll always transport the water from our hubs to our pods.
Cool.
Yeah, you manage quality that way. That's smart. Did you accidentally find that, or was that something that you guys realized early on?
That's something we realized early on, but there's an added benefit to now to place a pod. You don't even need a pad, right? You don't need to dig. You don't need a pad. Yeah. Your pre-opening costs are super low. You just need a halfway decent parking lot, right? And a power hookup. And if you can put those things together, you're going to walk away from this and you're going to be like, ooh, that's a good spot. That's a good spot, right? And so that is, I think, super powerful, realizing that there are a ton of great spots that don't need much work, that you could drop a pod and suddenly be, monetizing. You could be making money off of this and creating this awesome experience for people that live near you.
You're selling me on this now.
Yeah. Come on in. We'll get you on the list. It's okay.
As a franchise, then you see, I can't remember the term you use, like central, there's got to be a central station, but then there's multiple pods.
Hub and spoke model. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a method for like distribution where you place like your distribution in the center and yeah. Okay, so another like, where's the coffee coming from? Because I buy coffee. I love Chicago is famous for having really good coffee roasters. I've been fortunate to find some good ones out of New York, so I'll do like the subscription stuff. So like, where is the coffee coming from? Like, how did you guys go through like the testing and selection for the coffee? I'm equally as interested in the coffee question.
Yeah, I mean, for us, when we discovered our partner Cometeer, that was the unlock. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of it, but they are a premium subscription of flash frozen brew that's sealed into aluminum pods. And they'll ship it to you on ice. So it's super, super fresh. It's super good. They've captured all the nuance of coffee that's being brewed. And the great thing is we can use it both for our espresso drinks and for our coffee drinks because it is so intense and so concentrated. Nobody else does this. And then the other thing is we don't have much waste on site because all we have to do is add water to it and it just becomes like this perfect cup of coffee. So we don't have to deal with traditional grind and brew, no coffee grounds, no waste within the pod. So it actually keeps we don't really have any gray water as a result.
So how did you select them as partner? And tell me about how like the partner conversation from start. Did they think you guys were a little crazy? Did they just immediately latch on and love it? How did that go down?
We're really lucky, actually. Rob can speak to this. He's a West Point grad, and the CTO of Cometeer is a West Point grad.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So it's great to have that connection. You have immediate trust, right? So and we had tasted their product, and like the moment we tasted it, we realized it was an unlock for us to be able to. We wanted to get past that whole like automation and it's going to look and taste like a dirty Keurig on the inside, right? That's what everybody kind of thinks will happen in there. And so we wanted to err on the other side where like all the ingredients are just as premium as you can buy. Yeah. And so this is what that is, right? And so, it took a little bit of going back and forth, like, here are our needs. And, we need it in a slightly different form factor. And so, but, we came together on an agreement, like a partnership agreement pretty quickly, which is great. And they've been, providing all the coffee, and people love it, right? So I think that's the real key here is that people are really enjoying the drinks that are coming out of the machine with that ingredient.
I mean, we've done this in terms of sourcing our entire menu, like really high quality, delicious beverages, like artisan lemonades are non-GMO, organic. Just make sure we use like better syrups, better for you types of sweeteners, because we do know that at the end of the day, the product is most important. The experience is really important, but also like the product has to taste good. People really appreciate it. And the other aspect of this is we wanted to deliver them at reasonable prices, which is like our business model allows for that. But also I think a lot of people are feeling fatigue from, rising food and bev prices. And we just wanted to make sure that it was something they could afford, which is why the tipping story has been actually a really resonant one with customers.
That's cool. That's awesome.
So in this journey, and Alexandria, we go back on entrepreneurship, and we're interested in processing factories. What was some of the biggest drawbacks that were surprising that you didn't necessarily anticipate that you had to or you had to correct?
Drawbacks
in terms of technically, or
maybe challenges, or just things that you guys kind of like anything that kind of came up that maybe wasn't necessarily thought of or foreseen. Like you can't start a business and not have that happen, right? So what were some of those things, and how did you guys work through it?
One of the things that we probably knew was going to be a challenge, but it actually is that from a real estate perspective, when we go out to get zoning or permits, this isn't something that towns have ever come across. Right, we're like kind of a vending machine, but we're actually a drive-through. But we're automated, so there's nobody around. But sometimes there is. So it's like right now we're like, for instance, on a hawker peddler. The good thing is like most towns, actually a lot of towns, 90% of towns are very, very like intrigued by this, and they're very like welcome and opening, very welcoming, which is why we're now on a hawker peddler, right? But eventually we have to kind of like define for them what we are. They have to like rewrite some of their like codes and things like that. So eventually you want to get to the point where we're an accessory use, so that it's much easier to get approved. But that's something that we kind of anticipated, but it definitely is something that we have to put a lot of work in on.
Like Airbnb, but with coffee and drive-thrus, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I have another question. So you guys have these things, they're mostly for like somewhat larger footprint, more like what you said, parking lot type placement. Is there any potential consideration to like, I was thinking like, okay, put these in a laundromat would be a terrible example, but like a laundromat or like a Union Station or something like where it's a smaller footprint. I don't know if that even works. I see Farmer's Fridge doing stuff like that. So like, out of focus. Yeah.
I mean, I think what you're talking is really walk up versus the drive-through, right?
Yeah.
And, one of the biggest things I learned from doing a food truck, aside from health codes, is any sort of, walk up location where, you're going to have a ton of foot traffic. There's a ton of disadvantages that come with it. First, you're going to pay through the nose for it, right? It's going to be very expensive occupancy costs. Second, it's hard to access, right? Getting, in my case, it was a food truck, getting into Boston, but, any, sort of, because we looked at like what vending machine routes look like. Those can be really challenging if you can't get your, van or whatever close to it. And from a technical perspective, we had a lot of walk-ups during our pilot where 10 people would walk up at the same time, order all at the same time and say, I thought this was supposed to be 08, right? So the concept doesn't really provide the experience that we want to have yet on a walk-up type format. So because, in a drive-through, we get our site for a song. Like it is not, like we're paying about $1,000 a month for our site. Wow. Name one Starbucks that can say that right now.
Yeah.
The cars are self-queuing, right? So, people order on the app, they share their location, and as they're getting close, we start making their order. And so we're able to basically have their order done as they're arriving at the site. They have to get into a line, and so that helps us with our sequencing. And we still get the same kind of throughput that we would get with a walk-up because people are driving to you in their cars, right? So,
awesome.
there's just a ton of advantages. And plus, one of the things that we learned during our customer discovery too is there's a lot of coffee shops out there that can't have a drive-through because they're in that kind of town. And that is super inconvenient for people. I've seen, poor moms, with like a toddler in one hand, the car seat, with the sleeping baby in the other, and she just wants her damn refresher, and she's like, trying to make it in and out of the door to get it. And so I just think that's a terrible experience. Will we maybe do a walk up someday? I mean, sure, our technology supports it, but I think this is the lower hanging fruit.
That's awesome.
I mean, it's where the volume is. Drive-through is where the volume is currently. You added drive-through to any existing coffee shop, they do 50% more sales as a result. The speed and convenience of drive-through cannot be underrated. And in fact, the drive-through only segment of the coffee shop industry is the fastest growing one. You think of like Seven Brew and different Luckin Coffee is trying to get into the US. So there's a lot of upside on the drive-through side. But that isn't to say that without a little engineering, we could do a walk-up. And we've gotten a lot of requests for events. So like little pop-up ones, like something cool that we could take. Because our first pilot was on wheels. It was in a trailer. So people thought it could be moved around. And to like concerts, festivals, like people were asking for the dog park near us, the car racing around the corner. So there's a lot of opportunities. It's a long pipeline.
I remember.
Sorry, go ahead, AW.
This is before I had kids, and my kids were 12 and 10. So it was probably 15 years ago, and we were with a friend. And I don't know when the conversation came, but it was Starbucks starting to have like drive-throughs. Like, what do they have drive-throughs? And like, that's for food and stuff. And it was just new concept to me. And we were with another family, and like they had kids, and like, oh, it's a game changer, because what Rob had said is that you don't have to get out of the vehicle.
Yeah.
If you got two babies, it is so much work getting out of the vehicle. And I just I forgot about that concept because my kids are grown. It's easier now, but that there's a workforce
place
out
for
there.
that.
Yeah, there's a place for that. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm thinking. Solar, is that I'm assuming that's crossed your guys' mind, and you maybe thought about it, played with it. Maybe there's consideration for that in the future, because then that again reduces kind of that requirements even further. That could support your potential interest in mobile. So like, where are you guys at with that? What led to the maybe parking lot decision on the solar piece?
Yeah, we're there actually. So
great.
So we have inside of our pod, it's a giant refrigerator, and inside of that pod are two robot work cells, and they look like giant 3D printers for drinks, right? They move cups around underneath all the dispensers, cuckoo, it sends out your drink. All automation likes to run on super clean DC power. And so for us, we chose 24 volts. And so we have this giant 24 volt battery. Any stepper motor or, DC motor, all that stuff is running off of the 24 volts. And so one of the nice things, doing that is you have super clean power. So you don't have the power interrupts and all that sort of thing. But you're just constantly charging that battery. So we have an inverter in place so that we can charge that battery. Once you have all that in place, you might as well put the solar panels up there and have a nice roof and get a little bit of free power. And actually, if we have a good sunny day, then that day and that night, all of the power will come from solar for all the automation. Now, the refrigeration piece, that requires more power. That's why we still have to hook up to LAN. We're looking at options to actually figure that piece out too. But, you take a step at a time. But the architecture is there.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
Well, it sounds like a great project, and I could see you getting excited. The engineer in you is coming out, and I could see that there's a lot that you could probably speak to on that. I guess, are we getting ready to wrap it up? Do we have any closing? Is there anything you guys didn't get to say that you wanted to say?
I think, we touched on it a bit, but I'm super excited about the long-term business model. I think the robotics is super fun and all the technology and everything, but, looking to the future, we're not building this for, just having a few automated pods. We're talking about thousands, tens of thousands of pods in the future. And so every bit of our design has gone into that thought in the future. How are we going to be able to put this into production? How are we going to be able to scale on our sites quickly, hence the franchise model? And are we going to be able to provide something that's just not, it's not just automation out there, like taking people's jobs, it's providing ownership opportunities for other people like us that have some money and a lot of motivation under 200K of pre-opening costs. A franchisee could own a ping pod site, start there, pay it back after 2 or 3 years, and then go get another one, right? And I think that's just super exciting. That's like, to me, one of the most just uplifting parts of our future is the fact that we're going to be able to help other middle income Americans find their dream, find the American dream. This is our American dream, but other people can jump on and be a part of it. So I think that's the most exciting bit.
I think it's worth mentioning we have a wait list for franchisees. And you'll find people on there that we've spoken to quite a lot of them, or they've come to the pod to visit, but they are, coffee roasters. They ran breakfast cafes in the past, but we also see a lot of like white collar people now, like really interested in running one of our pods, like VPs of IT, commercial real estate agents. So I think that a lot of different types of people are seeing that, with the advent of AI, they're really thinking about like, what does the future of work look like? And I think a lot of people are really interested in running their own business through physical AI.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, and if they want to find you, pingthrough.com is the best way, and we'll have something in the show notes. It was great having you on the show. Really taking us down an avenue that, while it's our everyday routine, but there's a different way it can be delivered. And thanks for bringing that to us.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks. Yeah, it's great to be here.
This is Factory the Future, and we are out of here like finished goods. Stay tuned for our next episode of Factory of the Future, where we're exploring groundbreaking techniques and behaviors that are reshaping industrial landscapes. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review and help others discover the cutting-edge insights transforming manufacturing as we know it.